So I had just been dress coded for having a singular rip on my knee, right? And the vice principal and the assistant teacher harassing me the whole time. They make me change in a room with cement walls and dirt floors. They lock me in there, make me change, and they give me pants from the Lost and Found that are 2 sizes too small and dirty, right? So the teacher's walking me back to my class. She's harassing me the whole time, making fun of me. And I get back to class and I'm just crying because I'm so humiliated. They really just like brought me down. So my teacher comes up to me and she's like, what's wrong? Like, what happened? Why'd they take you down to the office? What took so long? And I tell her the story, and I like tell the class the story, and nobody believes me. They're like, well, some of the students did. They were like, what, really? Like, that's crazy. But the teacher was like, I'm not buying it. Like, you're lying to me. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't believe myself either. Like, that's crazy, right? So at the end of the day, I go down to the office and I ask for my pants back. And they said, no, we don't want you wearing those pants again. So I was like, okay, I'll go back another day. And I was like, okay, yeah, well, I did pay for those with my money, and I won't wear them to school again, but can I have my pants back? And they're like, no, right? So I'm like, okay. I go back the next day. Hey, can I have my pants back? No, sorry. And I was in 8th grade, so this was my last year of middle school. Up until the last day of school, they wouldn't give me my pants back. And to this day, I'm in high school now, I don't have my pants. They still have my pants.
I'm gonna tell you guys about the first time I ever got scammed. I'm trying to remember my age. I think I was 9. So I was friends with a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood. I know, a weird concept. Anyway, these kids were a bit older than me. You know, most of them were like in middle school. One of the boys, I'd say he was about 12, was going around the neighborhood trying to sell some of his items. He was encouraging the other kids to buy from him or to trade something better. I wanted to be a part of this, so I asked if I could sell him anything. He said, oh, you have a skateboard, right? This was a skateboard that I had begged my mom to buy me. He was like, oh, if you give me your skateboard, I'll give you some money for it. I was like, really? I run inside, grab my skateboard. Mom was like, what are you doing with that? I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna go do something. I'll be right back. I was so stupid. Kid grabs a skateboard. He's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I'm like, so how much are you gonna give me for it? I'm Latina, we don't have allowances. I've never had actual money before. He goes, oh, I have to go back to my house. I'll get the money and I'll bring it back to you. So he takes the skateboard, leaves, and I'm standing there for a good half hour. I was expecting 10 bucks, maybe 5. You will not believe what this kid came back with. This is part 2 of the first time that I ever got scammed. So this kid left and said he'd be right back with the money. I was standing on the street corner, waiting for this kid. I was starting to get nervous. So much time was passing by, and my mom was waiting for me. I was nervous because I needed to prove to her that I did not just give away my skateboard for no reason, that this kid was actually gonna give me enough money for it. She was gonna be proud of me, I don't know. I had no idea where this kid lived, but I start walking down the street in the way that he left so that maybe I could see him. I walk for a while and I finally see him walking down the street. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I go up to him and I'm like, hey, do you have the money? Starts the sentence with, so here's the thing. He begins to tell me that he actually doesn't have the money right now. That'll pay me later. But in the meantime, here's a baseball that his dad told him is gonna be worth something someday. I take it from him and I go home and I start to cry. I walk through the door and my mom's like, where's your skateboard? I try to explain to her, I'm like, this is actually a baseball that's gonna be worth something someday. I never see that kid again and my mom was furious with me.
My aunt tried to poison my mom? Story time. So one thing to keep in mind is that my mom and my aunt do not get along. And a few years ago, my aunt was going through some financial troubles, so she had to come live with us for a little while. And since she was going through a little bit of troubles, her and my mom came up with this deal that my aunt would just help around the house, you know, like cook dinner, clean up, stuff like that. Well, about 2 weeks after she moved in, my mom started to become really sick. And we literally had no idea what was causing it. My mom was just having severe stomach pains. And it got so bad that my mom ended up passing out and we had to rush her to the emergency room. Well, they ended up running some tests and come to find out my mom had bleach in her system. So my dad gets angry and starts questioning my aunt, and my aunt confesses to putting bleach inside of my mom's food every time she cooked for her. It was so bad that if we waited any longer, my mom would have died.
Story time, how I got revenge on the school's popular girl and never got caught. In my school, we have 3 stereotypical popular girls. Let's call them Bree, Emma, and Ava. They are all very popular, stuck up, and rude. But the main one is Bree. Bree is very toxic and rude. She forces people to do her homework and is a very terrible person. Well, in 5th grade, I decided to get my revenge on her. My teacher set up this site. I won't say his name for privacy reasons. On this site, she would give us writing prompts and we could write. However, the catch was, all other students could see and edit your work. There was also no way that you could see who was editing your work because the whole site was anonymous, really. One day the teacher gave us a writing prompt and told all of us to write. I decided to see what Bree was doing. That's when I had a great idea. Because the site was anonymous, I could edit and destroy all of Bree's work. I ended up deleting a bunch of her writings and wrote a bunch of nasty and rude comments.